At 12, the news at noon starts right now.
Today on the news at noon, a shooting at a Texas ICE facility leaves at least one person dead. We have details on what the FBI says they found at the scene.
But first, we are just hours away from a change in the weather. Meteorologist Shelby Ibertowski is tracking a cold front and some rain chances.
Yeah, and that cold front is still just to the north of San Antonio, but you can start to see that cloud coverage already arrive in San Antonio and feeling that humidity this morning. And now, although it is going to bring a little bit of relief with the temperatures, the main thing this cold front is going to bring is rain, and it's much needed rain. Take a look at authority radar. Right now, most of the showers are still well to the north of San Antonio. Talking about Junction, it's just now entering portions of the hill country, but there's a few other things to note. Now, I am going to zoom in here just to really show you that frontal boundary is just about to push into San Antonio, so you might start to feel that wind pick up, but most of the showers and storms are well to the north near Killeen Junction, but we're starting to get a few pop-ups already in areas of near the south central Texas area, and there's a few things to note. So today we are under a marginal and a slight risk for some heavy rainfall, and those quick downpours we can expect to produce some localized and isolated flooding. The Weather Prediction Center within the last 20 minutes or so just updated this, and there's a few things like I've been mentioning. It's all because of that weak cool front moving through, but not only can we expect the heavy downpours to be possible, there's also that chance of wind gusts up to 40 to 60 miles an hour. Yes, there is still a hail threat depending on how much instability we get in the atmosphere, but those chances are also slowly weakening. But street flooding is also possible because we can see up to 2 inches of rain fall at certain times, and the rain chances are only going to increase as we go throughout the rest of your afternoon, as we go throughout the rest of the evening, and even into the early hours of tomorrow morning. There's a chance some people might not get rain this afternoon, but might start to see rain at 1 or 2 a.m. tomorrow. I'll break down the forecast and the futurecast of what you need to know with the rain chances coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, new this noon, federal authorities say at least one person is dead after a shooting at an ICE facility in Dallas. Officials say a shooter with a rifle opened fire from a nearby roof.
Authorities say the accused shooter is dead after shooting themselves. ABC's Rena Roy reports the FBI says ammunition found at the scene contained anti-ICE messaging.
A heavy police presence at the Dallas ICE field office. You can see multiple law enforcement vehicles and first responders arriving on scene after authorities say gunfire broke out this morning.
Just be advised, it's still active shooter. There's a sniper on the roof.
We had 4 individuals that were shot, 2 of them deceased, including the shooter.
ICE confirming no ICE officers were physically injured.
I can confirm at this time that the FBI is investigating this incident as an act of targeted violence. Rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
The acting director of ICE, Todd Lyons, speaking with ABC News, saying they believe the shooter was up on another building a few hundred yards away.
It's a secure location where we bring in arrested individuals for processing, for patting down, for transported out, different things like that. So it's a secure location, but it's not covered. And that's where I think the shots came in, from an elevated position down into the location.
There's a lot going on right now in our country. A lot of it's confusing. It's a scary time.
Lyons saying this office has been targeted before.
In this field office itself, there was a bomb threat almost to the day where an individual came up claiming that he had a bomb strapped to him in August. And just in July, we had officers and agents ambushed about 40 minutes away in Alvarado, Texas, by a group with military-style weapons on July 4th. So it just, the attacks and threats on ICE agents just keep increasing, and it has to stop.
And the acting director of ICE says assaults and threats on ICE offices are up 1,000% since January. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Back here at home, a man had to be rushed to the local hospital after a driver hit them. At last check, that person was still in critical condition. The crash happened around 7 this morning at the South Cross Boulevard and Quintana Road intersection. Police say a 48-year-old man was not using the crosswalk when the car hit them. He was also wearing dark-colored clothing. Officers tell us the driver involved did stay at the scene and is cooperating with the investigation.
Uvalde police say they do not believe anyone else was involved in the death of a woman who previously worked in Congressman Tony Gonzalez's office. Regina Santos Aviles died after catching fire while alone in her backyard. Now, authorities have sent home surveillance footage to the Texas DPS crime lab, and they say no further updates will be released until the lab and the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office complete their reports. That could take weeks. Now, Santos Aviles' family told KSAT that she passed away on September 14th after being airlifted to San Antonio with severe burns. They say the fire was an accident.
At a meeting later tonight in Kerrville, property taxes are set to go up by almost 8%. City leaders say the higher rate is allowed after the July 4th flooding, and it could bring in more than $337,000. And a reminder for property owners hit by the floods, you've got until October 20th to file for a disaster exemption.
Well, today, senior citizens living at the Wheatley Park Senior Living Facility are ringing the alarm again about unsafe conditions at their apartment complex. During a press conference today, they are set to call on their landlords to fix issues that have been going on for years. So we brought you this story over a year ago where tenants say they were dealing with AC issues. Now they're dealing with a lot more that is making daily life hard and they say sometimes dangerous. So they are facing no heat in the winter, no air conditioning in the summer, and an elevator that does not work. The issues, they say, don't stop there. So residents are reporting leaks, flooding, mildew, and hot water that comes and goes. Pests are also a constant problem there with little effective control. So security, they say, is a big concern too. So we're going to have more on the news at 5 following today's press conference.
Happening today, District 8 residents have a chance to learn more about the future of the Sports and Entertainment District at a town hall meeting. From 6 to 8 p.m. at Oak Meadow Elementary School's cafeteria, Council Member Ivelisse Mesa Gonzalez will give neighbors an overview of the proposed budget for the Sports and Entertainment District, including how it might be funded and the timelines involved. City Manager Eric Walsh will also be there to speak and answer questions.
Well, we asked you to weigh in on your favorite businesses around town, and now the results are in, and we have your top picks in the categories ranging from restaurants to dog groomers, mechanics, and even some comic book shops. So our Devin Karp takes us inside the growing hobby to see why one company wants to make sure that fans always have an affordable and accessible place to call home.
I've been doing it so long that it was kind of taboo in the beginning to be like, you're reading comics or you're playing card games or whatever, and now it's cool.
Robert Carrasco can't help but marvel at the growing popularity of comic books, trading cards, and board games in San Antonio and across the nation.
Comics aren't only in your blood, they're on your skin.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, so I figured, it wasn't in the cards for me to, work in a boardroom or something like that.
As the general manager, he's seen Heroes and Fantasies, the 38-year-old shop, grow from a small storefront to a large warehouse filled with literal hundreds of thousands of comics, toys, and cards, attracting the attention of local celebrities like Victor Wembanyama.
It's helped in the growth and it not just be seen as we're just a comic book shop where it's kind of more of a pop culture thing.
Besides all the merchandise, there's even more fun to be found in the back. Large tables open all day, every day for people to come together, meet a stranger, and try to fight, trade, or collect something new. With free game nights and tutorials happening almost every night of the week.
We do have some of our employees that will demo for you and teach you how to play a game, but I think it's just as cool when some of the players want to help you as well and like, well, we need these cards that have some extra or whatever, that kind of such, and so it's kind of neat to see them kind of pull together and help somebody out. And
at a time when prices are rising and scalpers are swooping in for mainstream merchandise, Heroes and Fantasies wants to stay local and keep the fun accessible and affordable.
We want to make sure that we're not gatekeeping and we are allowing everyone to get into this hobby where not everyone can come in and afford a $50 toy or something like that.
And if you're a bit of a nerd like I am, it's hard not to feel like a kid in a candy store with a little bit of something for everyone.
I just think it's interesting that if you don't like what's available, you'll probably find something. And so we try really hard to try to stock a little bit of everything.
Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
And the full list of all the winners up on our website, ksat.com. This is from food, fashion, fitness, and even the basics like banking and plumbing. We have you covered there, so check it out. You can just scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen.
Schools across the country are using technology to help keep those schools safe. How some students are finding ways around it and sneaking weapons onto campus.
Well, new KSAT Explains takes a look at the controversy and the concern over a proposed housing development in northwest Bexar County. Critics of that plan believe it has the potential to contaminate San Antonio's water supply.
It's called Guajolote Ranch, and it's a development that would create roughly 3,000 homes on 1,100 acres near Helotes, north of Gray Forest. The plan would require a wastewater treatment plant, which would clean and process sewage and then dump it into the Helotes Creek watershed. That feeds into the Edwards and Trinity aquifers, and that is where the controversy comes in.
It's not just people who live downstream in Gray Forest or in Helotes. It's affecting the water of 2 million people in San Antonio.
I say hell no.
Is that water safe to drink, especially for all of San Antonio residents?
The short answer is no. It's not safe to drink.
However, the developer of the project is pushing back on those claims, saying they're taking extraordinary steps to protect water quality.
And the criticisms and the response are in a new KSAT Explains, which you can watch anytime on demand on the KSAT Plus app, YouTube, or on KSAT.com.
Take a look out there with our TransGuide cameras. Seem to have an issue here. There was a vehicle fire happening here earlier. So Loop 410, WW the shot there. You can see it's completely slowing down traffic in that area.
Looks like it's starting to be cleared up, though, so hopefully those slow-moving cars will be able to move a little bit quicker.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated on that.
But not only are we tracking that chance of a slowdown right now at that TransGuide camera, we're also tracking a bit of a slowdown possible being later this evening due to a weak cool front. Now, I say cool front because it is going to be weak, and the main thing is it's going to bring our temperatures down from those 90s to the 80s. The morning temperatures are going to be down into those 60s, and that humidity is going to be pleasant throughout the rest of the week, but it's still bringing that chance for rain. I'll talk about what you need to know for your day today and tomorrow coming up in just a bit.
We are looking forward to the cold front, but real quick, wanted to wish our Sarah Spivey a very happy birthday.
Yes, hope she's enjoying.
Yes. She did work today. She was at Northern Hills Elementary earlier for Science with Sarah. The kids had a great time.
Dedicated. She's so dedicated.
Yes, she is.
Even on the birthday.
She's going to go enjoy a nice little vacation, getaway this weekend, and it's much deserved. I just hope that she doesn't have too bad of a drive going up there because we're tracking that rain and that cool front moving through. Now, right now, most of the rain is still just to the north. It's just outside of our viewing area, but it is starting to enter Junction, Fredericksburg, even Rock Springs. And I did have to switch to the San Angelo radar so we can actually see some of the showers and storms. But if I switch to the regular San Antonio radar, it doesn't really look as much. And even if I zoom out and move to San Antonio and I zoom in, you can already start to see a few of these showers and thunderstorms start to spark near Lagrange, Bastrop, and even getting into areas of Giddings because that's all along that frontal system. And you can weakly see it here. It's just about to go through areas of New Braunfels, just to the north of Luling, and it's almost parallel to I-10. And that's what we're watching. That cool front is going to be moving throughout the next few hours, and it's also giving us that chance for rain. And as we go throughout the next few hours, those rain chances are starting to increase. We are keeping it at about a 60% chance of some rain today because these storms have been known over this history along the cool front to overperform at some time. So we decided to leave it at 60%, but notice something here. As we go into tomorrow morning, we're still seeing that chance of rain. And it's all because of that cool front moving through, allowing it to really get excess tropical moisture as it's moving into areas of San Antonio. And it's also bringing some stronger winds ahead of the front. I noticed last night when I was up on the roof for the night beat, we were already starting to feel the wind and that humidity, and that's really going to continue over the next few hours. So I really wanted to just get straight to your futurecast. Over throughout the next few hours, that cool front is actually going to start to dip into San Antonio. I wouldn't be surprised if we get it even in the next hour or two. But as that cold front continues to dip, what we're tracking are those little quick pop-ups. They're already starting to spark in LaGrange and Luling area, and they're going to continue over the next few hours. But they are going to be very isolated, so not everyone is going to see that chance for those showers and the thunderstorms. But as that cold front continues to dip through, we're going to still have a slight impact for your evening commute. But here's another thing. After that sun is setting, traditionally, you lose that daytime heating, you lose the strength for those thunderstorms. But there is a chance tonight after that sun sets between 11 p.m. and even after midnight for another chance of redevelopment for the showers and storms afterwards. We're talking about maybe 2 a.m. You might be awakened to maybe some nice heavy rainfall. This is not going to be another July 4th event. I just want to put everyone's minds at ease. We are just tracking very spotty thunderstorms being possible. But the good news is it's already gone for the most part by your morning commute. There might still be some damp roads for most of us, especially near the coastal plains. But even then, by lunchtime tomorrow, all the showers near the coastal plains finally get a little bit of relief and not seeing as much rainfall potential as we go throughout the next few hours and even throughout the rest of the day tomorrow. But this is all going to be much needed rainfall. We're still in that drought, so we are still tracking that potential for maybe half an inch of rain or up to half an inch of rain being widespread. And even then, maybe even up to a few more inches, maybe seeing pockets and some bullseyes up to about 2 to 3 inches. But we'll continue to keep it posted throughout the next few hours. And we did also leave that 20% chance of rain tomorrow, but it's really going to be before the 8 or 9 a.m. time frame. So there is still some good news, and even then temperatures will continue to be in those mid to upper 60s in the mornings throughout the rest of the week. And the main thing is seeing less humidity. So it's going to be feeling a little bit more like our actual air temperature, guys.
All right, thanks so much. We're excited for that cooler air. Well, it is meant to be a high-tech solution when it comes to school safety. However, the system may not work the way it should. Details after the break. Now to those concerns we were talking about those high-tech equipment that some schools are counting on to keep children safe from violent attacks.
Well, ABC's Aaron Katersky reports that some are not working as advertised, so letting weapons get through school doors.
A vicious attack in the hallways of Proctor High School in Utica, New York, caught on a cell phone.
I got out of the gym. That's when I got attacked.
Watch as the student wearing a red shirt attacks senior Annie Laird II, stabbing him multiple times. Out of nowhere?
Out of nowhere.
Authorities say the student lodged a 9-inch hunting knife into his back, neck, and hands that was smuggled through the district's brand new $4 million state-of-the-art AI weapons detection system called Evolve. The system is designed to detect knives, guns, bombs, and other weapons when people walk through.
How does a student get a 9-inch knife into the school?
He came in, he walked right through the Evolve system with his backpack.
School districts around the country are spending hundreds of millions of dollars to harden their campuses. And vendors have an increasingly broad catalog of products to buy.
We actually have the ability to launch pepper balls off of our drones.
Attack drones, bullet-resistant glass, and safety bunkers were all on offer at a recent school safety convention in Las Vegas. But even the organizer says nothing is foolproof.
I can't say there is a silver bullet that is going to give us that 100% guarantee.
Some pricey pieces of technology have been cited for either not working as advertised or not working when it mattered most. In Nashville, administrators said a $1 million system failed to detect a gun earlier this year at Antioch High School before a student was shot and killed.
Shatter-resistant film, security cameras with weapon detection software, and security vestibules. Unfortunately, these measures were not enough to stop this tragedy.
Some critics describe what happened in Nashville and in Utica as a cautionary tale.
Reality is there's not a great deal of evidence that many of the products being marketed would even work in an active shooter or other school security threat.
A trade group that speaks on behalf of the security industry acknowledged in a statement to ABC News that some products out there fall outside wide acceptance and deserve more scrutiny. But the group maintains that recent technological advances have made many security measures much more effective and that it would be a mistake not to incorporate and fully utilize these improvements.
Is it still painful?
When I'm doing something like physical, I feel stinging everywhere.
Annie Lair, too, is suing Evolve and the school district for negligence and misleading marketing claims. Evolve has broadly denied the allegations in court and said in a statement to ABC News that its platform has a proven ability to consistently detect a wide variety of threats.
Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
Camp Mystic in Hunt, where 27 young girls and counselors lost their lives in the July 4th floods, have announced that plans to reopen one of its campuses next summer.
Our Devin Karp has been staying on top of the story and tells us what they are promising parents as they plan to reopen their doors.
Guys, we got this news in last night from the Eastland family that Camp Mystic will open up its doors to campers starting in summer of 2026. But it's not going to be on the Guajolote campsite that flooded. Instead, they plan to use the Cypress Lake campsite that's less than a mile south and uphill of the Guajolote campsite. In a letter to families, the camp promised to follow new state safety laws and said it will build a memorial to honor the girls' joy and kindness. Meanwhile, the parents of the victims are still pushing lawmakers to strengthen camp safety and prevent another tragedy. The Texas Tribune reports that Matthew Childress, the father of Chloe Childress, one of the 2 counselors who died in the flood, said in a text that the families of deceased campers and counselors were not consulted about this decision. Instead, they want to see efforts focused on the recovery of Seal Stewart, the last camper from Camp Mystic that hasn't yet been recovered. A statement from Camp Mystic's letter reads, in quote, part, we are not only rebuilding cabins and trails, but also a place where laughter, friendship, and spiritual growth will continue to flourish. As we work to finalize plans, we will do so in a way that is mindful of those that we have lost. While the Guajolote campsite won't be reopening next year, the camp did say that it continues to evaluate plans to rebuild and never having campers return to cabins that had floodwaters inside. The owners plan to release 2026 camp dates coming up here in early October. Guys?
All right, thanks, Devin. Live cam, looking outside, it looks gray. It's not as blue as it was yesterday, but it's still humid out there.
Oh, it's not as blue as it was just an hour or 2 ago, Courtney, but you're right. That humidity, just you step out the door and it's the first thing that greets you because of that cool front moving through. But take a look at the temperatures that are associated behind this cool front. We're talking temperatures in the 60s, in the 70s already up in Abilene and Dallas. But even then, not only are we tracking that chance of some showers and even some cooler temperatures, there's a lot more to just go off of with this cool front. Now, here's the thing. Different portions of South Central Texas will see this front at different times. If you're in the hill country, some folks near Junction are already starting to see some rain. And even then, down to Kerrville, we expect you to be in that noon, so now to about 2 p.m. time frame. San Antonio, that cool front is just about to be knocking on our door, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does continue to speed up the timing of the cool front moving through. But there's one thing that's still consistent. We're still tracking that chance of some heavier rainfall to have some sort of impact. Like I mentioned, there's that marginal and that slight risk, that 1 and 2 levels of some heavier downpours producing some localized flooding. We're talking about street floodings, normal areas that if you see a lot of rain, up to about 2 inches of rain at times, that just fall in a short amount of time. That's what we're going to be watching for, that chance for some localized flooding, because that's what we're talking about with the chance of the heavy downpours. I'll break down the futurecast, what you need to know as this cool front and the chances of some storms arrive to San Antonio coming up in just a bit.
And I was screaming at him, my kid is in the car, my kid is in the car. I said it probably 10 times.
A San Antonio mother says she was left shaken after a man tried to steal her car while her 5-year-old daughter was still inside. Lisa Hummer rushed to stop a man who climbed into her vehicle outside a daycare near Timber Hill and Grissom Road. Now, Hummer had just walked her twin 1-year-olds to the door, leaving her daughter Nova in the car. Now, she admits she forgot to lock the doors, and that is when that suspect jumped in and tried to drive off with Nova in the back seat. Now, Lisa stood in front of the car and pleaded with him until he gave up, got out, and ran away. Now, she tells us that the ordeal was a wake-up call, and she is now urging other parents to always double-check their doors, even during quick stops. Well, it is a heartbreaking tragedy that happens far too often. Children left alone in vehicles, and sometimes for just a minute, can still be very dangerous. And our Patty Santos explains what every parent and caregiver needs to know to keep kids safe.
You might think leaving a child alone in the back of a car is no big deal, but in fact, it's very dangerous. The inside of a car can heat up much like a greenhouse, and this is very dangerous for kids whose bodies warm up much faster than adults. And really, cracking the window doesn't do much. The heat isn't the only risk. Sometimes cars can be stolen and power windows can injure little hands, and sometimes cars can be put into gear even when the engine is off. If you ever see a child alone in a car, make sure you call 911 immediately. And if the child looks distressed, make sure you get them out as quickly as possible. Parents, remember never to leave a child in or around a car unattended. Use drive-thrus when you can, and remember to keep those keys out of their reach.
And again, these situations can happen to anyone, so experts say creating simple routines can help. Things like leaving a personal item in the back of the car to remind you that your child is there. And like Patty mentioned, keep the car keys and remote openers out of reach from children. And always set your emergency brake when your vehicle is parked.
United Airlines flights are back in the air after a half-hour ground stop Wednesday morning. The Federal Aviation Administration order came after the airline reported a technological issue. United said it was a brief connectivity problem and that normal operations have resumed. This latest ground stop comes a month after a different one tied to United's computer systems. In that case, more than 1,000 flights were delayed or canceled.
Well, the Transportation Department says it achieved its goal of hiring 2,000 air traffic controllers this year. The hiring blitz comes in response to the ongoing shortage of critical air safety workers at the FAA. Now, the Department of Transportation previously announced that plans to supercharge the air traffic control workforce. That followed January's mid-air collision between an American Airlines regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter. The accident near Washington left 67 people dead. Now, following that tragedy, air traffic controller academy trainee salaries were boosted by 30%, and the hiring timeline was trimmed by 4 months.
YouTube will soon reinstate users who were banned for spreading misinformation about the COVID pandemic and the 2020 election. YouTube's parent company Alphabet disclosed the move in a letter submitted to the House Judiciary Committee. Republicans are investigating whether the Biden administration forced tech companies to restrict speech on their platforms. In the letter, Alphabet's lawyer wrote the administration pressured the company to remove content that it said did not violate YouTube's policies. The lawyer said this was, quote, unacceptable and wrong. The letter went on to say the company has a commitment to freedom of expression and, quote, will not bend to political pressure.
Well, Facebook parent company Meta has launched a political action committee to influence artificial intelligence regulation. Through a new super PAC, Meta is earmarking millions of dollars to fight state politicians across the country who the company sees as not fully supporting the technology. That's according to a new announcement Tuesday. So this is the second super PAC that Meta has announced in recent weeks. The previously announced group called Meta California focuses on AI policy in the state.
Now to the verdict for the man who tried to assassinate President Donald Trump last year.
ABC's Victor Okendo reports that Ryan Routh was forcibly removed from court after being found guilty of all charges.
Ryan Routh waking up behind bars, guilty on all accounts of attempting to assassinate Donald Trump on his golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida last September. The dramatic moments in court, Routh attempting to stab himself in the neck with a pen, officers swarming him and dragging him out of the room. His daughter yelling out to her father as he's taken away. Sources tell us he was left with only marks and bruises.
Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
That Secret Service audio played during the trial. One agent firing at Routh after spotting a rifle pointing out of the bushes.
The individual was inside that tree line. All units be advised, it looked like an AK-47 style assault rifle.
Routh fleeing from the scene, later arrested on the side of a road. The trial 1 year after the incident, lasting just 12 days, with Routh representing himself. President Trump praising the verdict, saying justice was served.
I'm very appreciative of the justice that was given and the way it was handled by Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche and everybody that it's been, and their team of people.
Ruth only calling 3 witnesses in his defense. In his closing arguments, the 59-year-old spoke about himself in the third person, telling the jury the prime opportunity was there for the defendant to shoot the president, and yet the trigger was never pulled, arguing he is innocent. This human being does not have the capability to harm another human being. Ruth now faces up to life in prison. He'll be sentenced in December. Victor Oquendo, ABC News, Miami.
Well, you will soon have fewer options when it comes to getting your tax refund. The changes you can expect.
Well, tariffs are taking a long-term toll on your checkbook. Chief financial officers say that inflation could have been about a third lower this year with President Donald Trump's historically high tariffs. That is according to the CFO survey done by Duke University and the Federal Reserve Banks of Richmond and Atlanta. Researchers say that the findings dispute President Donald Trump's repeated claims that his tariffs are not causing price hikes for U.S. consumers. Several major companies, including Walmart, Nike, Target, and Mattel, say the tariffs will force them to raise prices on some of their items. The CFOs also expect tariffs will account for about 25% of price increases for 2026.
The IRS is making changes. The agency announced it is phasing out paper tax refund checks for individual taxpayers beginning on September 30th. The change is a result of an executive order which mandates all federal payments must transact in electronic methods. Officials say the change is designed to protect taxpayers as well as expedite the refund process. The IRS says taxpayers should continue to file their returns as they normally would. The IRS says during the 2025 tax filing season, 93% of refunds to individual income tax filers were issued through direct deposit.
Looking out there with live camera, 88 degrees for now, but we are on that cold front watch, which is nice.
Yes, we're on the front watch and the cloud watch, and we're just watching for a few things. The blue skies continuing to leave, and the rain chances this afternoon will continue to increase, seeing that 60% chance of rain from about 4 p.m. all the way till tomorrow morning. And that's because that cool front that's coming through is going to give us that chance of some spotty downpours that are going to be brief at times, but also heavy, having that chance for some localized and isolated flooding for some people, not for everyone. I'll break down your futurecast of what you need to know going throughout the day today and tomorrow, coming up after the break.
It's so close. It's so close. It's so close. It's so close.
Countdown.
I know.
We got to cut this humidity out. I can't. I walked outside today and I was like, enough is enough.
There are some days where it's better than others, but this morning I walked out and I'm like, it just felt so sticky.
It's heavy.
Because we're just ready.
Oh,
change. We're just ready.
We're over it. I have a bit of an attitude about it. Yeah, I'm a little sharp.
I'm ready for the fall to start to bring some of the allergens out too, because I've noticed the last few mornings I've started getting a little bit of a stuffy nose, but where the cold front is just on our doorstep. It is so close, and you can really see that here on Authority radar. We're starting to see a few scattered showers start to pop off and along that cold front too, especially in areas near Luling, just to the east of San Antonio. I'll actually loop this over the last 15 minutes or so you can see that front just about to cross over I-10 in the progression of the showers and little just quick pop-ups. And that's what we've been watching for the next few hours, is these little pop-ups. We are expecting them to group together at times for some people, but the good news is this cool front is just on our doorstep, and it's going to give us some cooler temperatures. It's going to give a push of the fall element, any allergens that are already out and about through, but it could also increase molds. But not only that, we're starting to see a few pop-ups just on the western side near Medina, near Lake Hills, even starting to see some just about to enter into Helotes, but the heavier rain is well to the north. We're talking Junction, starting to see some in Gillespie County, up near Killeen, Temple, Austin. But here's the thing. Over the next few hours, that rain is going to continue to make its way to San Antonio. Here's a look at that futurecast. That cool front is going to push through, and this model doesn't really have the best timing of this cool front. Is expecting it to just stall over the city over the next few hours, and that is still a possibility, but it is still moving fairly quickly. And we are still expecting those quick little pop-ups to continue to form. And here's the thing, it could have a slight impact for your evening commute throughout the next few hours and even into the morning hours tomorrow. Because we're already seeing those little pop-ups, it is still possible overnight tonight into tomorrow morning and even this evening there is going to be excess moisture. These storms have been known to overperform, so I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see some areas, not everyone, some areas see some rain chances throughout the rest of the evening. And normally by the time the sun sets, we're starting to see a little bit of that decrease in activity. But tonight, it's not necessarily going to be a case. Yes, there is still that chance for some activity to start in areas near Atascosa County, a little bit of a break, but then we're tracking another chance of redevelopment. This is going to be after midnight until about 4, 5, or even 7 a.m. for some folks. So that's what we're watching for, a chance of some impact for your morning commute tomorrow. But the good news, by tomorrow about lunchtime, most of the showers in San Antonio and even near the coastal plains do continue to diminish, and we're left with some clearer skies, that low humidity, and even the temperatures on the cooler side. Take a look at the highs you can expect over the next 7 days. 80, 90, 92, 90, 87, and even 90s later on. And although we're still going to be in the 90s, and that's normal for us in San Antonio, it's still going to be feeling that less humidity for us. So it's definitely going to be feeling a few degrees cooler in the mornings as well. That's the better part about this cool front. Temperatures in the mornings, 65 Friday morning, 66 Saturday, 68 Sunday, and low humidity. And even some sunny skies as we get ready for the weekend, and even that cloud coverage starting to return next week.
We look forward to it. Thank you, Shelby. Well, a long-running reality show coming to an end, plus a new take on a classic story.
What's happening latest in Hollywood? Well, here's ABC's Melissa Adon.
The stars have arrived in Italy for Milan Fashion Week. Demi Moore helped kick the week off with co-stars Edward Norton and Elliot Page for their highly anticipated short film, The Tiger. It's directed by Spike Jonze and features the first fashion looks by new Gucci creative director Demna.
Everything we did, we did it on purpose.
We're getting our first look at The Bride, a new movie where Jessie Buckley plays the bride of Frankenstein. The film also stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Penelope Cruz, and Christian Bale, who plays Frankenstein's monster. Look for The Bride in theaters this coming March. Season 9 of Catfish will be its last on MTV, ABC News has learned. The series was based on a 2010 documentary of the same name, which was aimed at rooting out romance scams on the internet.
Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl.
Barry Manilow is going on tour for the last time. The Copacabana singer has announced 9 shows for this coming January in cities including Orlando, Florida, Charleston, South Carolina, and Columbus, Ohio. And Ben Platt is celebrating a birthday today. He's known as the star of Dear Evan Hansen, both the Broadway show and the 2021 movie, but he's also starred in the Pitch Perfect franchise. Ben Platt is 32. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Melissa Adon, ABC News.
Well, in case you missed it, Muertos Fest is growing. This year, it will be 3 days long. So exciting. Organizers say the festival will start a day earlier and will run for 3 days this year. It will also kick off with a special tribute to Flaco Jimenez.
Well, the celebration turns Hemisphere in downtown San Antonio to honor the traditions of Dia de los Muertos with art, music, and more than 80 altars created by community members. Muertos Fest 2025 will run from October 24th now to the 26th. And another reminder here, the 12th annual Head for the Cure 5K is just days away now. That's right, Saturday morning, and the race raises awareness and funds for brain cancer research. So again, happening this Saturday, September 27th at 8 a.m. at Providence Catholic School. You can head over to ksatcommunity.com to register and get more details, and the weather will be cooler that morning.
Remember tonight, not everyone's going to see that chance of rain, but we still did decide to keep it at a 60% chance of showers and storms today, tonight, and even into tomorrow. There is still a 20% chance of storms and some showers, mostly to the south of San Antonio up until about 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. I should say tomorrow morning. And then you're going to feel so much more comfortable. Temperatures waking up in the 60s, even the peak temperatures in the afternoon only get into the 80s and 90s. But it's going to feel less humid. So it's going to be better.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Even I might go on a run, okay?
Yes, that is awesome.
Stephanie's so proud of me.
Can't wait.
All right, run if you want to. Have a great day.